Now, the head of an NHS trust at the centre of scores of allegations of poor maternity care says he won't be resigning. His comments come as one of the country's leading experts on patient safety has told the BBC the problems at Shrewsbury and Telford NHS Trust have the hallmarks of previous NHS scandals. The chief executive of the trust, Simon Wright, says he has a difficult job to do and has apologised to any families who've been failed over the past 2 decades. With more, here's our social affairs correspondent, Michael Buchanan.
Well, more than 100 families have come forward to allege they suffered harm as a result of maternity errors at the Shrewsbury and Telford Trust. Their babies died or suffered significant injuries, or in some cases the mothers themselves were harmed. And that's certainly the case with Andrea Bates. She has a happy and healthy daughter, Eva, who was born at the Prince's Royal Hospital in Telford in 2015. But the birth, in Andrea's words, was brutal. A forceps delivery at the second attempt. She was left with an open wound for 9 months. She still has nerve damage in her leg. She has incontinence problems. She's had 2 operations so far. She may need more. And she suffered from depression as a result of what happened and her inability to return to work.
I feel angry. I feel hurt, sad. I feel upset the fact that I'm perhaps not the only person that this has happened to. And the isolation that I had, because I thought I was the only person going through this.
She wasn't, though, as she's learned in recent weeks. We've spoken to another woman, Julie Hughes, who was left with major physical problems needing reconstructive surgery after what she describes as a brutal forceps delivery in 2002, again at the trust. Why didn't they learn, you might ask? Well, because there was not a culture of learning at the trust, we've been told. A former nurse who wishes to remain anonymous spent more than a decade in the maternity unit at the Royal Shrewsbury Hospital and has told us that mistakes were rarely properly examined.
There are heads being buried in sand. People do say, oh, it was a dreadful mishap, this, that and the other, and we'll learn from it. But when I was there, I don't think they learned from it. I think it was a case of we'll dot the I's, cross the T's, say all the right things to the right people, and we move on. And we cross our fingers that it doesn't happen again.
That failure to improve practice has come up in other circumstances as well. We know, for instance, through investigations that between 2014 and 2016, 5 babies died at the trust because they'd failed to properly monitor the children's heart rates and didn't spot that the babies were in distress. Dr Bill Kirkup, who has investigated several NHS failures and chaired the review of maternity care at Morecambe Bay, which found awful examples of poor care leading to deaths of babies and a mother there, says the stories coming out of Shrewsbury and Telford have echoes of Morecambe Bay. And he says it's important the trust is open and transparent about its failings.
If you lose public trust, it is a significantly uphill battle. If you're open and honest in the first place and people believe that you're being open and honest and that you're disclosing what's happened and you're saying sorry for it and you're saying this is what we're going to do to put it right, that's one position. That's what you should be aiming at. Once you've moved away from that position, even if it's only in terms of public perception, very difficult to get it back, because everything that you're saying after that is being looked at as, yeah, but this is being dragged out of them. They're only saying this because they have to say it now.
And setting that tone and ensuring you have that public trust is a job of leadership.
Yes. Quite simply, yes.
Well, the pressure has been mounting on the Trust Chief Executive Simon Wright in recent weeks, not just because of the problems in the maternity unit, but also because of opposition to his plans to close overnight the A&E unit in Telford. But when we caught up with him earlier this week, he was adamant he was going nowhere.
Are you out of your depth, Mr. Wright?
No, not at all. Not at all. I've got a difficult job to do and I intend to see that job through. But I want to take the opportunity once again to say that for any parent, any mother who's had any issues to do with their mums, please come and talk to the organisation. We want to be able to make sure that we're taking that learning on board, and we're deeply sorry for any harm that has occurred to any baby in our organisation over the last 20 years.
Well, the pressure on Mr. Wright continues. 2 MPs in Telford have written to the NHS regulators asking for the trust to be put into special measures so that additional support can be provided to management there. It's important to point out that the trust have maintained throughout that their current maternity services are safe.
Michael Buchanan there, that's our social affairs correspondent, 5:28.